What's up, guys? This is Saiyan here, coming at you with another deck profile, continuing our series with looking at Gundam War deck profiles. Today I have an aggressive mono black deck for you guys. Let's jump into it without any further ado. Okay, so first and foremost, as I said, this is an aggressive sort of deck. It doesn't really have anything specific going on in terms of trying to get something out. It's just trying to get to sort of units that beat nicely enough that you can get that dubs. So we have 13 generation cards. Nothing really to say about these, as you guys know. These are um, obviously necessary to play the game. They give you your generations. They allow you to bring your cards into play. Running 13, that's pretty much my starting point with any deck, and then you can go and tinker with those if you want. I think 13 is probably a good spot here. For 1-drop units, we have 3 Zaku tanks. This has been errata. They cannot go to space, actually. It can only go to Earth. What this guy really is just get in for a chump block and then sacrifice it to draw a card. That's pretty much all it does. It's perfect for that. Now, black doesn't really have any draw engines. This is one of only a small handful of cards that actually gets you card draws in the color of black. So that's Zaku Tank. And then we have 3 copies of Hyzak. Now, Hyzak is an interesting little card here. It's basically got pseudo quick going on. It's a fairly usable unit as well, having a 2/0/1. I mean, obviously the 1 defense points is not like the best to have, but it's still a good little early beater, good little early blocker, and you can play this card even if you have played a unit card in this turn. So just allowing you to have a second drop in a turn is fantastic in my opinion, especially with black that doesn't really have like a massive selection of extremely good playable cards. Now, there are some black units that are better. I just simply don't own them, and that's why I am showing you this particular build. Obviously, if I do get my hands on some better black cards, there are some better black cards out there that I'm gonna obviously look at updating this deck in the future. Moving on to 2 generation cards, we have another playset of Alexandria. This is a nice little battleship if we want to be aggressive, and as I said, we are trying to be aggressive in this particular deck. It's a star 1/3, which is alright, but it gets +1 shooting points when it attacks, so it becomes a star 2/3 in attacking. Also gives you 2 supply, and being a battleship, obviously you can drop that. You could technically on turn 2, if you didn't hit anything, you could drop a Zaku tank. You could then drop your Hyzak, and you could still drop an Alexandria. The game would allow, the cards would allow you to do that. So I'm gonna just move these 1-drops away and move Alexandria away, and then we have 2 Galbaldi beaters. Here another 2-drop unit. It's a 2/02. When it goes to attack, it gets +1 defense points, so it attacks as a 2/03. Again, it's just an early beater. It's nothing special, but it's also not a bad card for being aggressive, just being able to soak up a bit more hits. Getting into some of our little bit more beefy units, we're running 2 Galplans here, and just a bit of explanation as to how my play group plays this game is we're actually adding these values to the main combat values of the card. I've had a comment, and thank you for that comment, on my previous white deck saying that this is actually an unintentional thing. They should just be replacing these, which is fair enough. Only set 1 and the starter deck cards seeing these plus signs here. So if you want to play 100% original, then don't add these up. They will just replace these units. But my current play group still just adds these into these values. And we're tinkering with the game. I mean, there's nothing stopping us to do some changes. It's not like the game has been alive for the past 16 years. So, but yeah, it is what it is. So currently God Plan is a 3-1-2, where you can transform into a high mobility unit, rocking as a 3-2-5. But again, as I'm sure the design team has intended it to be, it should be a 0-1-3 high mobility. Again, guys, it's up to you how you want to play the game. We are sticking with adding the pluses for now. That might change in the future, though. Also running now on the 4-drop slot, 2 copies of Masala. This unit can only go to space. Can be a bit restrictive, especially late game when you're trying to attack or defend on both fronts. But it's still a fantastic card. A 3-2-4 is by all means nothing to scoff at. But again, as we said, this guy, if it transforms, it gets high mobility and becomes a star 4-9, originally a star 2-5. It's also got a powerful ability where you can roll it and spend 1 card from your nation pile. If this card has a set on character, then you can give the same damage as its shooting points to one of your opponent's unit cards battling against this card. Now, just as this card is played currently in our group, you would give 4 damage with that, which is fantastic. If you have a character on it, maybe the character adds another 1, but some of them give maybe 2 shooting points, so you can actually deal 6 damage with that. But originally, yeah, so this effect only comes to be active when the card transforms. But it makes the card quite versatile, it makes it quite good. Maybe a little bit too good for a common, but again, as I said, we're still very much tinkering around how we're getting these cards to function in our little group. And then probably one of my favorite sort of mid-game cards for black is Gapthly. It's just a straight up 3-2-3, which is alright. It's a bit expensive, same as Masala, having a 2 payment cost, but it can transform into a high mobility 4-4-6 unit, just a straight up 4-4-6, which is grand. Again, as the design team may have intended it, it would be a 1-2-3 high mobility, which is still very good actually for high mobility attacks. And then let's move on to characters. Running 2 Quan Li, early drop unit, adds 1-1-0 to the unit this card is set on. In the resolution step, you can pay 1, and when this card is set on a unit card with high mobility, and as you guys could see, there's quite a lot of cards there for mid to late game that have high mobility when transformed, and we can destroy one of our opponent's unit cards in roll status battling against this card. On its own, it's not really great, and I'm still looking for some tech stuff to sort of force my opponent's cards to go to tap, and then we can sort of finish them off with Quan Li. But that might be an archetype on its own, maybe something I will try to build in the future. Currently, there isn't anything super duper usable to get to that point. You could run Brog, this guy here, to sort of tap, but then Brog would have to be on like a massive unit, and it can only really tap 3 total generator power cost cards or below. It could be a combo, of course, but I mean, that's obviously down to you guys whether you want to try that out or not. Running 2 RBOs as well. It's a really good 1-1-1 addition to the card. Plus, it can also give preemptive attack or assault to the whole assault team that he's in, making him probably one of the standout characters in black. Certainly a very solid card, and also it being a 1-3-0 to bring it into play, I think it's a very good benefit that we get from this card. It's a good investment overall. And we also have 1 Buran Blue Tark here, another 1-1-1, which is again very good. And what this guy can do is, if you have him on a unit that can transform, you can basically chain this effect on your opponent's Psycho Mew, for example. And if whilst that's on the chain, obviously when this resolves, any of your opponent's unresolved effects will just basically um, fizzle out as they target the unit Blue Tark is on, which is really, really, really good. There aren't many things we can do against Psychomute, making it a very powerful effect in the game. So having cards like Blue Tark is fantastic, even for black, which is considered to be the most shafted color in the game. I'm running 3 Assassinates here. You could probably run 3 Public Executions or a variety of the 2. I just started out with Assassinate because our cards already have hefty costs. A lot of the sort of mid to late game cards will cost you 2 to bring into play. All the units, look at the Gapfleas are all 2 cost, the Masalas are 2 cost, the Gaplans are 2 cost, even the Galbaldis are 1. So we don't really get any free cards coming down. So, you know, if you can save a card or 2 from your nation pile, then I would recommend Assassinate. If you're looking to go up against decks that run more counters, which obviously would be mostly red, but even white, then I would definitely recommend Public Execution for that Prevent 3. Yes, it will cost you 1 more card. Yes, you can only play it from turn 2 onwards or whenever you hit your 2nd generation. Just digging that card out real quick to show it to you guys. So yeah, this is the alternative. It's up to you. I mean, I can definitely see a lot of pros for Public Execution, and there are certain cards that you can run to make these cards cheaper. Then definitely Public Execution should be the choice. But cool little set 1 card Assassinate, just straight up destroy a character card. It's very good. Only black has access to these straight up destroy commands, making it actually, from that point of view, making it a very powerful color. You're also running 3, the Sound of the Crushing Life, which basically is the most straightforward removal in the game, as the 1 single target removal. You can snipe out the character card of the unit if there is one with Assassinate, and then you can come in with the Sound and just remove any unit card which doesn't have a character card set on. Fantastic card. No wonder it's a rare. But yeah, you would definitely need either Assassinate or Public Execution to be like 100% sure you can get rid of your opponent's card. So yeah, fantastic card. It has to be run in any black deck, at least 2. But if you can run 3, that's even better. And then just now, before I made this deck profile, have I found a slot for the 2nd copy of Appease the Federation Congress. Just straight up destroy all operation cards. This can be very annoying for a number of different decks. Obviously, brown likes to have a lot of operations in play. White could be relying on some operations. But even if you look at red, for example, red will do a lot of scrying with ops. And again, as I said previously as well, any deck should have at least a number of operation removals. Now, because this is a blanket removal, you have to take all the prevents into account. So if your opponent has 1 operation out with prevent 3, then you will need to have 7. If they have 2 out, then you need to have 10 generations. So by the time you get to that point, yet these cards will not be useful anymore. But I really can't think of any operations that have prevent on them on second thought here. But yeah, either way, this is the only straight up operation removal black has. It's expensive, but at least it's a blanket sweeper. So all in all, overall, it's a pretty sweet card to have. In terms of pumps, we are running 3 Suicide Squads. This is obviously comes with its own cost. Because it does blow up the units you pump at the beginning of the return step. There are a number of ways that you can get out of that. I think this particular deck doesn't have any, but yes, black can run Jared Mesa, it can run SMR, which can duck out from the final effect. And you will see an upgraded black deck, which is more of a control type, where I will be running some of those units, but this, as I said, this is more of an aggressive deck. That one will be more of a control build, differentiating the 2. Suicide Squad is literally what you want to use on those low-cost Hyzex, for example, or use it on the Zaku tank. Just do a big block, and then before it would blow up, you sack it to draw the card off it. It literally can be a game-deciding card, Suicide Squad. And overall, I mean, we don't really get many cards that just give you +3/+3/+3 anytime you need it. So, in fact, this is the only one that will give it to you within any timing. Fantastic. And then finally, we are running 3 operations, and this is what makes, obviously, Federation Congress a little bit debatable whether you want to run it or not, but then again, it's not guaranteed you're going to draw into any one of the 2 at the same time. Bad Maintenance is probably the most disruptive card Black has access to. It doesn't remove a unit, but it basically cripples it. You can attach operations to your opponent's units, unless they specifically say you can't, like the Strike Gundam from the starter in white. You plug this bad maintenance down to one of their precious units, it taps it immediately, and also they have to pay 5 card cost every time they want to roll or re-roll that card. Doesn't remove this operation, just every time they want to use that card in reroll, they have to pay 5. It's not very good against Psychomu cards, so I would definitely try and get the crushing sound for Psychomu units. But bad maintenance is certainly good for any of those cards that that you just don't want to see in active position. Bit of an advice: if you put this on PS armor units, they will duck out of this because they will just pop back into your opponent's hand at the end of the turn. So it's not good for Psychomu, it's not good for PS armor, but it's great for pretty much everything else. If they don't have operation removal, or they really want to use the operation removal, if we would run more operations, which we will do in the future, they might want to reconsider whether they want to free their unit up or they want to remove the operation that makes a deck tick along. So bad maintenance, definitely one of my most favorite Black cards. And this takes us to the end of this particular deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Please make sure you like the video. Leave a comment below if you want to chat about Gundam War and what you think about the deck. What cards do you think you could improve a Black aggressive type of build? I got a few cards in my mind, but I want to hear your opinion about it. Make sure you subscribe and perhaps share it with somebody else who also likes Gundam War. And up until next time, Saiyan signing out. Peace.